Hello, welcome back to the Road to Episode 7, my ongoing series where I chart the road to release of Star Wars Episode 7, The Force Awakens on December 16th, 17th and 18th, 2015, depending on where you are in the world. This is my third time filming this video. I need to get back into the swing of making these videos. I'm going to do it this time. Okay, here we go. Let's just jump right into it. IMAX poster. Here we go. Boom! Rey and BB-8 on the front. Very cool. I really like the design. It's a poster I wouldn't mind hanging up on my own wall if I had unlimited space. And it's very similar to the AMC IMAX poster as well, but it obviously looks a bit more realistic than that one. Both very cool posters nonetheless. Moving on, we have some posters from Times Square which have gone up, and they're very long posters, and they have all the main characters with their weapon of choice, or just a kind of a, just again much like the character posters, where it's very much a line going up like that. It's more like a line going across, so you have the, Kylo Ren's lightsaber, you have Finn with his lightsaber, and Han with his blaster, and so on. Really cool. They're up in Times Square as far as I'm aware, and Daisy Ridley posted a picture of seeing herself, in Times Square, and it must be really cool. I mean, her mind must be blown at this point, just by how big this is getting, and I don't know. I don't know whether these younger actors really have the full grasp on what they're really getting into over the next couple of years. Yeah, assuming they're in all the rest of the films. Right, the main thing to talk about in this video though is Mark Hamill speaks. He talks about Luke Skywalker in The Force Awakens, and this is coverage from both Entertainment Weekly and Empire Magazine in the UK. And also J.J. Abrams talking about it. So J.J. Abrams says, no one forgot about him. We were hoping people would care, but there are a lot of things that are not on the poster, as busy as that poster is. Certainly Luke is a very important aspect of the story. It was the thing that struck me the hardest, which was the idea that doing a story that took place nearly 40 years after Return of the Jedi meant that there would be a generation for whom Luke Skywalker, Han Solo and Princess Leia would be as good as myth. They'd be old and as mythic as the tale of King Arthur. They would be characters who may have been heard of, but maybe not. They'd be characters who might have been believed to be existed, or just sounded like a fairy tale. Yeah, okay, this ties into it. I was a bit confused in my own notes, but John Boyega also talks about this in a way. He says, for Finn, he's been raised from the ashes of the Empire. This is John Boyega speaking, the guy who plays Finn. He's been taught about Luke Skywalker. He knows about his history. For him, it's like joining the army, then learning about one of the great enemies of your country. It has that effect on him. But in terms of the Force and the magical stuff that happens, that is the point where Finn kind of questions what is what. What is the Force, and what part does Luke Skywalker play in all of this? And it says that he ends up in possession of the lightsaber that once belonged to Luke and then once belonged to Anakin. And it's an important piece of the puzzle which will reveal Luke's fate and whereabouts. His fate. So yeah, it says, although we can't answer the question, where is Luke Skywalker, we did get a chance to track down the man who plays him, Mark Hamill, who is quick to turn around a closed sign when things get too close to the story. And they ask him, what's the best or most interesting piece of insider direction that JJ gave you as you got back into the character that you created? Mark Hamill says, I'd like to answer that, but it would give away the secrets of Episode 7. That's the beauty of the story. It leaves it up to the audience's imagination. It was the story of a boy going from a farm boy to a Jedi Master, and I always thought that it was amusing, and if you put it in terms of James Bond, it would be like telling the story about how he got his license to kill, and then stopping and never telling any of the stories of what his adventures were. But that was just the structure of the movie, so it leaves it up to the audience. So what he means there is that, Return the Jedi at the end, you finally get to see Luke become a Jedi, but then you don't get to see, him be a Jedi, if you know what I mean. And it is kind of part of it where it leaves it up to the audience. And for me, as a 7-year-old, I was just imagining all these adventures Luke Skywalker was going off and having, and then I was reading about them in the Expanded Universe novels and so on. And now, we're not going to get to see a Luke Skywalker adventure, but we're going to get to see a Luke Skywalker story in a way, which is really exciting to me. But yeah, I remember reading that Finn, John Boyega's character, is kind of been brought up to believe that Luke Skywalker is the bad guy. So it'll be very interesting to see how it all pans out for sure. That's from Entertainment Weekly. Now from Empire Magazine, Mark Hamill again was interviewed, and he said, obviously you're seeing him at a very different time in his life. There's lots of surprises in this movie. You're going to love it. What else? That's about it actually. Oh no, there's one more thing he said. He's talking about, stepping back into the role of Luke Skywalker. He said, it reminded me of when I was in Tunisia on the Salt Flats shooting the first Star Wars movie. If you could get into your own mind and shut out the crew and just look out to the horizon, you really felt like you were in a galaxy far, far away. And I had that same wave of emotion happen to me. when I was on Skellig Michael in Ireland, I wasn't anticipating it. So when he was filming on location on the island in Ireland, an island in Ireland, he felt that kind of same feel, which is kind of cool, I think. So yeah, that's Mark Hamill's thoughts. Also, he did an interview with I'm not sure who, but it's a YouTube interview that he did while he was performing motion capture for a new game, and so he's got all these dots around his face. And also, it's a very recent interview, and he's got his beard back for episode 8, which is really cool. Because if you remember, he grew the beard out for episode 7. It looked awesome. He said he hated it and he couldn't wait to shave it off. He talked about how it was his contractually obliged beard, and then he filmed episode 7, shaved it off, and looked about 10 years older, in my opinion. Sorry, Mark Hamill, I love you, but you did look a lot older without the beard. The beard suits you, man, just keep it. So he had the beard, he shaved it off, and then by the time Comic-Con ran around, he had the beard back again. I was like, are they going to film episode 8 already? And it turns out they were, because they went back to Ireland with Ryan Johnson, the director of episode 8, and Mark Hamill was there, but he was there without the beard. But I'm assuming that was, he literally went to Ireland, he shot something for episode 8, and then shaved the beard off again straight away. So, I mean, but now he's got it back again, so he's getting ready to film again. So why doesn't he just keep the beard, keep shaving it off, growing it back and shaving it off? But I don't know, I guess he just doesn't like it, and we should respect his his opinion on the matter. But yeah, so he's doing this interview recently, he's got the beard back now. So episode 8 might be going into principal photography very soon. I'm assuming probably in the early months of 2016, sorry, next year. They've got to go into production by like January, February if they're going to hit that May 2017 release date, I think. So yeah, he did this interview. Get to the point. He did this interview, and he's in this motion capture suit. He's got the beard, and he's talking about how he's not going to spoil it for anyone. And he talks about Empire Strikes Back and how, you know, he kept that secret. The fact that Darth Vader was Luke's father, he kept that from his family. He kept it from Harrison Ford, who turned to him and said, "Why didn't you tell me about that?" You know, and he just talks about how that he said that there's certain things where he has been promised a bonus if he doesn't say something about a secret and it doesn't get out. But then he later clarified on Twitter what he meant by that was that he got a bonus for it not leaking that he was playing the Joker again in Batman Arkham Knight. But he said that he wasn't getting a bonus for the Star Wars The Force Awakens if he didn't let anything slip. He said that he was keeping that one secret for free. So there's that. Not much else to talk about in terms of that, really. I just got a little notification on Facebook, so I'm just going to check that gratuitously right now. Okay, not really worth even looking at. So there we go. Mark Hamill. Luke Skywalker. What do you reckon? Again, people are talking about it a lot. It's died down a bit now, but within 2 weeks we're going to know what part Luke Skywalker has to play in Star Wars Episode 7, and for me, I couldn't be more excited to find out what that is. So thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.